It's my first day in Chicago. I'm literally at my first restaurant right now, which is a rooftop bar. And my company that just laid me off is having a private event here.
Okay, well, I just got laid off from my company and I'm really, really upset. I thought I was done crying, but I don't think I am.
I got laid off last week and today was my first Monday being unemployed.
You guys, I just got laid off. They literally put my box and said, here's your severance, here's this, you can file for unemployment, fire.
And another thing that like blew my mind about getting laid off was I own a fucking home.
Guess the salary range you have budgeted. How the am I supposed to know that my range is higher than what you have budgeted for? It's a fucking game with these people.
I don't know if y'all know this, but they have been cutting a lot of doctors. I just seen a video and I had to go Google this. They are cutting doctors. Okay, like people are working until the end of the month and then after that they don't have a job, or of course they have to go find a job as a doctor.
Another day and another company that has record-breaking profit announcing layoffs. Oracle is the latest company to announce company-wide layoffs.
I have been laid off twice in my career. It's rough out here, y'all.
You didn't lose your job today. They decided months ago.
I think I'm about to get fired. Because they just put a random meeting on my calendar with HR. Girl, I know what that means. Let's get it over with.
Is experiencing a moment of significant change.
The job market has collapsed and things aren't getting any better. Mass layoffs in every industry, even doctors are getting fired. Today, I'm breaking down how Americans are dealing with this broken job market in 2025.
And another thing that like blew my mind about getting laid off was I own a fucking home. Like, and so many people own homes and have mortgages and are keeping this little housing market alive are being laid off. Like the most essential people we have, I think at Providence just laid off like 200 people from a hospital that's already has no workers in it. Because even when I was pregnant with my daughter, which was 2 years ago, the doctors were running around. Like, literally, as I was giving birth, the lady was like, oh, wait, if you can hold on a couple minutes, I'm going to go downstairs and deliver another baby. I said, oh, yeah, I mean, no rush, no rush. And I was in Safeway the other day, and it was just so weird because I just hear, like, I kind of stopped because I heard this really, like, weird monotone voice of, if you've been affected by the recent layoffs, Safeway could be a good place for you. And I was like, you think I could pay my fucking mortgage with Safeway? Is that what we're offering? We're going to take away the jobs and give me Safeway? Girl, and there's nothing wrong with working at Safeway, but I can't pay my mortgage with Safeway, girl. And I said, so they're fucking up the economy and giving us nothing. So that's all I've learned recently. That's it. It's not even good information, I guess.
What's going to happen when all these homeowners continue to stay unemployed? Who's going to save them? Because the bank is going to want their money immediately, especially for new homeowners who are paying high interest rates on their mortgage. You better pray the government cuts rates down. This comment says, eventually there will be no consumers to take money from. Exactly. This comment says, right? They want us working 5 jobs to survive or lose everything that we worked for. That's what they want. All these corporations don't want to pay people anything, yet want to give them so much responsibility. For what?
So everybody say, be yourself, record, and post. I just survived another layoff at my job.
If you haven't been laid off, why are you making a video and posting it on TikTok? Why risk your employer seeing this video and then going ahead and firing you? It makes no sense. What are people thinking? The job market is so bad, people are actually treating it like the Hunger Games. They are celebrating that they didn't get picked.
I don't know if y'all know this, but they have been cutting a lot of doctors. I just seen a video and I had to go Google this. They are cutting doctors. Okay, like people are working until the end of the month and then after that they don't have a job, or of course they have to go find a job as a doctor. You mean to tell me that this world is want money so bad for all this other stuff that's really not important, to where you're gonna cut doctors? I read it and it's pretty much said they're cutting doctors, especially at the VA. It said the VA has a 95% low rate on having doctors. It's lower than normal, 95%. Okay, that when it comes time to set appointments, that your appointments can be booked out for months and months. Like This is August. You couldn't probably see a doctor until like November, right? So I don't think people are paying attention to what's going on. If we don't have doctors, what are we doing? This is nuts. This is insane. And I try to like read the news and pay attention, and somehow I miss that. But cutting doctors and people in the medical field, people who went to school for years, is crazy to me.
You know what's crazy? When people argue about having affordable healthcare, they always compare it to Canada because Canada has free healthcare, yet everyone's excuse is that the wait times are incredibly long. If you want to see a doctor, it's going to take months, and some specialists as well is going to take a long time. But look at this. Now what? Here we have private insurance, yet we're still suffering from the same wait times. And people are paying an arm and a leg to get any type of coverage. Something has to change.
Another day and another company that has record-breaking profit announcing layoffs. Oracle is the latest company to announce company-wide layoffs as they invest more money in AI infrastructure. They are cutting members of their cloud team. Now, their cloud team, their cloud division was actually bringing in a lot of profit, but they are deciding to use that money to invest in AI infrastructure, things like data centers and other places where you need AI infrastructure in order to power the AI tools you're producing. That means this year we have seen 806,000 jobs eliminated, while corporate profit has been over $100 billion, meaning companies are doing really, really well from a profit standpoint, but they are continuing to lay off employees so they can invest in AI infrastructure, which is yet to be proven whether or not that's going to be successful for their business. So if you're working at an enterprise company, particularly an enterprise tech company, you need to be aware. It doesn't matter how profitable your company is, you may still get laid off.
Honestly, if you can, just buy these company stock, because if they make money, you're going to make money as well.
I just tried to apply for unemployment, and that was a show. Let me tell you why. Because back during COVID, when all kinds of people were applying for unemployment because everything got shut down and people that were wait staff, service staff, whatever, lost their jobs unintentionally and not due to any fault of their own. And people started submitting fraudulent unemployment claims. And guess what? I was affected. Yeah, so now that I've actually lost my job via a layoff that had nothing to do with me, I went to file for unemployment, and guess what? They have to clear this fraudulent claim off of my record in order for me to actually be able to process an unemployment claim for real. So I had to go through this entire process of submitting identity information, waiting on hold for 25 minutes for someone to pick up the phone and talk to me after I tried to apply online like 50 times and it just didn't work. And so this is fun. This is fun.
How useless does the government have to be that they don't even send out notices that there's been fraud on your account? At least mail out a letter or something.
So, I mean, like a few more days, but it's just one more, like right in the back, like one more stupid thing that I have to deal with. And I'm just like, I'm so done. I'm so done. And after applying to like my first 30 or 40 jobs since I found out I was getting laid off, I've received probably between 6 and 10 rejection letters. I haven't even gotten selected for an interview. We've reviewed your application and I'm sorry, but we've decided to go a different direction. I'm already exhausted and I haven't even been unemployed that long. I don't know how y'all are doing it. But if you're unemployed and you're struggling, please follow me and share some positive vibes in the comment, or maybe we can just commiserate together because this is hard. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but this is hard.
Real humans aren't even looking at resumes anymore. It's all AI. This comment says, have you registered with any employment agencies yet? Creative Financial Staffing is one of my favorites. Trust that things will start looking up. I've never heard of this agency. Are they any good? The woman in the video posted that she's looking for remote work. Are you serious? Beggars can be choosers in this situation. Why don't people learn?
Happy Thursday. It's been a while since we covered a career-related topic. Today, I want to talk about layoffs. I have been laid off twice in my career. It's rough out here, y'all. But recently I was speaking to someone who is earlier in their career, has never been laid off. And I was telling this person, yeah, I've been laid off twice. I have some anxiety about it when I think about, changes in the organization, blah, 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 blah. And this person was like, oh, I just had so much value and that's why I've never been laid off. And I just want to say it very loud for those in the back that nobody is safe from a layoff, not one person. And we will not brag about not being laid off because it makes people who have been laid off feel like, oh no, am I not valuable? That's not true. So if you're in the thick of being laid off, I want you to know that it's not tied to your value at all.
This comment says, I was a top contributor on my team as far as metrics go, and I got laid off on Monday. Honestly, I don't know how things like this happen. If you're a top contributor and they fire you, there has to be more to the story. Is you just too expensive to employ? It makes no sense.
You didn't lose your job today. They decided months ago. This is a true story from a client of mine. When I got laid off, it felt like it came out of nowhere. But later I found out the truth. The decision was made months earlier. The company had already run the numbers. They'd already picked the positions to cut. They'd already planned who AI was going to replace first. I was just working those last months without really knowing that the clock was ticking. And that's what nobody tells you guys. Layoffs are rarely sudden. They are calculated, scheduled, and they are often tied directly to automation plans. So by the time you get that email, they have moved on. Your work, your loyalty, your extra hours, none of it changes the decision. If you think you'll see it coming, you will not. And if you are not preparing now, you will be blindsided when your countdown runs out.
This is true. Everything is based on a budget. The only departments that can be aware of this is accounting and human resources. One decides how much money can be allocated to salary and wages. The other decides who's on the chopping block.
I think I'm about to get fired because they just put a random meeting on my calendar with HR. Girl, I know what that means. Let's get it over with.
Is experiencing a moment of significant change. So this has required us to manage the business more tightly, focusing on billability. So we in the other sectors have been working through efforts to increase staff billability to reach FY26 billability targets. And so we're continuously evaluating the your location or the expertise or the years of experience, right? And so the decision is not made lightly by the leaders in the health account, but at this time, we're moving forward with your formal severance notification detail. And so now I am going to have Adam discuss the next steps, right? And for
would be on August 18th, which would be 10 business days from today. You are eligible for a severance payment, which is calculated based on your role and your tenure with the organization. And is because of this action, your access will be shut off tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern time.
That HR email of doom is all but becoming too common now. This comment says, they did that to me and I indeed got fired.
As someone who was born in 1999, as someone who graduated college in 2021, but because of COVID, 2023, I did not think I needed to make $60,000 a year to be financially stable. I really didn't. I really thought 40 to 50 as a starting salary was enough. I didn't think I needed to be a STEM major to be financially stable. I really didn't. And I can't rewind 10 years of my life. I hate all the blame they put on people for choosing things, and they even blame people who made decisions about careers 20 years ago. Like, why do you have to make $60,000 to be financially stable? Then so many careers don't pay that.
Yeah, this person needs to take accountability. What is she talking about? Has she been living in a bubble? I'm pretty sure everyone watching this knows how expensive it is to live anywhere today. If you chose a bummy major, just say that. And how do you get laid off trying to be a police officer? So you're telling me you got laid off from the police academy? And make that make sense. This comment says, girl, I was struggling making $45,000 in 2016 without kids living alone. This isn't new. Salaries have stagnated for decades now. Some people really be just walking around here with 2 brain cells.
You guys, I just got laid off. They literally put my box and said, here's your severance, here's this, you can file for unemployment, fired. I don't have a job anymore. What the actual, who is gonna hire my?
Her employers packed her own stuff and put it in a box for her. That is wild. I've never heard of that. They wanted her out of there expeditiously. But you know, at the end, like the caption says, it did work out for her. This comment says, rejection is redirection. Man, am I the only one that gets annoyed reading these types of comments? This comment says, so we all getting fired? Last day is August 31st. See, another person that was given a 2-week notice. At least his employers are not firing them on the spot. They have time to prepare and submit a couple of job applications. This happened to me in May of this year. After 6 years of working there, 10-hour days, 5 days a week, working with a broken shoulder that I broke right outside the office, doing other people's job, good times, but it always seems to work out for the best. What was she doing outside the office? I really hope she's not one of those employees who clock out and still continue to work. You're not benefiting anyone but the company, and they don't care about you, clearly.
I just got a rejection email for a job that I'm quite qualified for. I decided I would inquire. Let's just reach out to the recruiter. Let's see if they have any feedback for me. I never do this. I just felt so compelled. I could not figure out why I was not chosen to move forward for a job that I am perfectly qualified for. Wrote this little email. I never do this. I'm just curious because here's all the reasons I'm qualified. Would love some feedback if you wouldn't mind. To my surprise, they responded to me. The response is like, thanks so much for reaching out. You are a qualified candidate. The salary that you put in that we asked about, it's too high for what we have budgeted for this role. Are you f***ing kidding me? You don't have a range listed on the job description. As an aside, in some states is now illegal. This job is remote. What am I supposed to do? Guess the salary range you have budgeted? How the am I supposed to know that my range is higher than what you have budgeted for? It's a game with these people. Let's see.
Who's gonna tell her? She just got bamboozled and gave her information to a data company. These recruiting agencies are not slick anymore. They just gave her a BS excuse.
If you can guess the salary range that we have budgeted for this role, your guess matches our budget, we'll call ya. If it doesn't, we're not even going to reach out to you to see if you'll be flexible. We're actually just gonna reject you and move the fuck on. Why don't you just fucking ask? I'm not married to a number. I don't give a f. I need a job. I need healthcare benefits. I can't sit on my couch for one more day and binge watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills from season 1. I can't do it anymore. Just ask. I will work for less money. I am literally just guessing what you have budgeted so that I don't undersell myself, because that's also a red flag, or put too much money and then you don't want to move forward. List a range and ask me if it'll work for me. I will say yes, and you can call me and we can talk about it. I can't keep job hunting. All I do every day is refresh my email every 5 minutes and nothing is happening. At this point, I don't think I'm ever gonna work again. We're playing.
You know what? Maybe that employer saw something on that resume and they decided not to go, and I think they chose it correctly. Because imagine having to deal with this. I really hope she's just exaggerating for the TikTok and to entertain. But if she's really like this, good lord, imagine working with this kind of person.
I was so ready to talk to the CEO of this company. I am applying for a global strategy role. And I was so ready, look at me, and I'm all hyped up, and I was so excited to just talk to him because I know it isn't the final round of interview. And then HR called me a few minutes ago and said that he has been caught up in another meeting which I know is very usual. I've worked with C-suite before, so it's rescheduled for tomorrow. So I guess I have additional time to prepare.
These companies really don't respect your time, especially if you're not working for them yet. You're just another resume in the massive pile. But the good thing is that at least she's optimistic and can use that extra time to prepare and go over any interview questions.
Silicon Valley is in the middle of pulling off one of the most elegant cons in its history. The world that building smart machines requires destroying human intelligence and jobs at industrial scale. It's the inevitable result of mythological thinking so intoxicating that admitting it's wrong would mean acknowledging hundreds of billions of dollars were invested in the wrong direction. If it continues, they will literally eat our future from the inside out. It began with early AI founders obsessed with artificial general intelligence, basically a super intelligent computer that could solve everything or kill us all. No middle ground. To this small group of tech folks and billionaires, it wasn't if this happened, it was when and who would control it. The promise of glory seemed limitless, as were the dystopian possibilities if the wrong people got there first. So this FOMO-fueled hubris got translated into absolutely massive investment and spending. Companies are committing over $300 billion to AI infrastructure in 2025 alone. Meta just raised their spending to at least $66 billion. Google is burning through $50 billion this year. Microsoft's spending exploded from 5 to 22% of revenue, and this is all based on one assumption, that AGI requires massive models trained on internet-scale data in centralized cloud infrastructure.
All this yapping for what? They already spent the money. Their entire goal is to have less humans working for them, which means having a smaller wage bill.
It's my first day in Chicago. I'm literally at my first restaurant right now, which is a rooftop bar. And my company that just laid me off is having a private event here. They rented out like half the restaurant and they're on their little thing. And I kept seeing the logo everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on? I cannot escape these layoffs and being reminded of it. Oh my goodness. I wasn't even gonna get a drink. Now I need a drink.
The good thing is though that she knows no one there. She just got that PTSD from seeing the logo. This comment says, I'm not gonna lie, this would ruin my whole mood. For me, if I didn't see any coworkers, I wouldn't mind it at all. Ignoring the logo is pretty easy to do, especially while you have good food in front of you.
One of the best things I've ever done for myself was quit my 9-to-5. Was it great for my finances? Not necessarily. Was it amazing for my mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual health? When I left my 9-to-5, I had to face my demons. I had to look at every insecurity, every insecure attachment, every part of myself that I truly no longer recognized and ask, why did I let things get this bad? Why did I stay until I was at this point of exhaustion, until I was at the point where I literally could not recognize myself in the mirror? I was so drained, it felt like the life force was sucked out of me. And ever since leaving that job, I've had like 2 other jobs since then, and I've had the same feeling, either this feeling of not being in positions where I'm living up to my potential, or really just feeling like I'm participating in a system that was not built for me. I'm participating.
Bro, what is she talking about? How many healths does she have? Mental, spiritual, emotional? Her coworkers must be so happy that she left. Imagine working with this person 40 hours a week. She screams mentally unstable. I know those 2 brain cells must be fighting each other every single day just to brush her teeth.
Today's article brought to you by the Financial Times, titled TikTok poses a threat for both the employer and employees when it comes to the TikTok videos being about layoffs. I find this hilariously awesome in all regards, actually, because we are now at a point where we're making TikToks and posting videos about our layoffs, where in the past days, in the olden days, right, the good old days, what we would do is we would just vent to our loved ones. Well, the loved ones then wouldn't like that company, right? So you're just taking that to a degree at which we don't know, because if a TikTok goes viral because of a layoff and how you were treated and etc., it then in turn hurts the company because people are going to sell their stock. They're going to say things about the company. And so it's like a double-edged sword here, right? Because now that employee is going to be looked at when they go to get hired somewhere else as that person, but also then the companies understand that, hey, we can't be treating people that way. All in all, I'm in favor for it. Keep posting that, right? Because ultimately we need to call it the transparency and the Now, don't lie though, because there's a lot of you out there that it's your fault too.
No one is selling their stock if there are layoffs, especially for a blue chip company like Apple, Microsoft, Google. If they lay off people and that stock price dips, you know damn well I'm buying more. Those next quarterly earnings are about to hit different. This comment says, or vent to Glassdoor and still leaves the company with anonymity. Or whatever this means, if I'm understanding it correctly. I think it's great that people go and leave reviews on Glassdoor for their employers. This allows potential candidates to see how much they're getting paid, what their day-to-day tasks were, how the company treated them. It's a great move all around. More transparency is needed, especially in these times.
So how exactly is all of this supposed to end? And by this, I mean this version of life that we've all been sold. Nobody can get a job because nobody is hiring, despite the fact that every time you walk there, there's always only 2 to 3 people who clearly look overworked and can actually use the help. And if by some miraculous chance you were offered a job, it's a sick joke of an hourly salary, especially when you consider that you can't even survive off of $20 an hour anymore. Yet you have jobs out here that want you to go through 5 rounds of interviews for $14 an hour. And if you actually went to college, which is, you know, what you were supposed to do to gain the experience necessary for a decent job, you get slapped across the face with some shit talking about 5 years of experience required for a starting position. And again, even if you are lucky enough to land a job, you have to hope that it's full time so you can get health benefits, only for you to go and use those health benefits just to find out that they don't exactly cover you in the event that you're actually sick or you require actual medical attention. Car insurance costs are going absolutely through the roof because, you guessed it, you pay into it only for them to screw you over when you need it the most. The cost of food at the grocery stores is absolutely insane. The same few items that you could have gotten 10 to 15 years ago now cost you at least $100 every time you step foot into that damn store. Corporate greed is at an all-time high. CEOs and companies keep getting more and more filthy rich every single year as they continue to increase the prices of their products. The housing market is a complete joke. You have corporations that are buying up homes and forcing us all to be forever renters. And speaking of rent, you have apartment complexes charging $2,000 a month for some box little place that's not upgraded and it's falling apart, but they will have the audacity to charge you $250 for an application fee that you don't get back even if you don't get the place, that conveniently also requires you to make 3 times the rent, plus a security deposit, plus first and last month just to move in. Can't live in your car because it's not safe and they'll kick you out of any parking lot that you try and stay in overnight. Can't even be homeless because now it's criminalized to do so. Every single thing that we eat is full of microplastics or chemicals, which is giving a disturbing amount of young people cancer these days. Everything that we are consuming in our media is nothing but brain rot garbage filled with propaganda or an agenda-driven message that we're tired of being forced to listen to, and our social media has fried our brains so much due to our insane codependency on dopamine hits, due to our ridiculous depressing lives.
Honestly, what's the point of watching Black Mirror if we're living it? This comment says, this entire video needs to be played on a loop every hour of every day until people wake up and actually take action. All we do is talk. We don't take action. What is the action though? What can people do? People are just stuck. There's no upward mobility like there used to be. Opportunities are high and dry. People are struggling out here to even find the simplest things, like a minimum wage job. Needing experience for a minimum wage job is crazy work.
Then now we can't even go to movie theaters anymore or take your children out to eat in public without needing to shove a screen in front of their faces or our faces to keep them distracted with quick short form content. Our language and
Okay, don't blame these big tech companies. This is the parents' fault if you're shoving an iPad in your child's face. Hand them a book, give them a puzzle, some Legos at least.
Hello, so I just got laid off. Time in my life. Really sad. I really liked my job. I worked for the Kroger main offices in Portland, Oregon. And they're doing a restructuring. And it's not personal, I guess. My boss is not happy. But it hurts. And it's not like I did something wrong. Anyways, so that's how my morning's going. I really liked what I was doing.
Why have people normalize recording yourself crying and uploading it to the internet? Y'all are embarrassing.
Okay, well, I just got laid off from my company and I I'm really, really upset. I thought I was done crying, but I don't think I am. I worked at my job for almost 3 years. It was like my 3-year anniversary in the next like 2 weeks. And I just really loved my job, and I'm just really sad that I don't have it anymore. And I'm still like processing and like just in full like panic mode because I'm like, I need money, I need job security, like obviously I need to pay rent next month. Like I'm just really like freaking out, and it's just not a good feeling. I feel like my main like source of sadness is just that I really enjoyed going into my office every day for the past 3 years. Like I've gone through a lot while having this job, and I would just always tell people like I'm so thankful to have this job because it's really like pulled me out of like some dark times, like because I knew I had to go into my office, like, and the
Are y'all seeing this? All these jump cuts. She clearly edited this video. A grown adult filming themselves crying, editing the video, and then uploading it to TikTok. I think I know why we're actually in a recession. People have just gotten way too comfortable here, especially on the internet.
content, like the work of the job I really enjoyed too, and I just felt like I was really doing a good job, and so that like really sucks. But yeah, I don't really know. I'm so sick of crying on the internet. I'm sorry. I've never been laid off or anything, so I don't really know like what to do or say. I'm trying to like keep myself busy, and it's only been like a few hours. So I know this is gonna be like a whole new chapter for me, and I have a lot to figure out. I have a few weeks of severance, which is fine, but I know like the job market is like, you know, takes a while to find something. I'm just the most sad because I just really liked my job. I liked being there. I liked going in every day. And I'm gonna like really miss it. I miss this chapter of my life, so I don't know. That's it, I guess.
This is so weird. This comment says, I'm kind of old and I can tell you these things are happening for you, not to you, even if it doesn't feel that way right now. Here we go with the universe has all the answers hippie buffoonery. This comment says, if you ever want to come to Florida, let me know. We have a few spots opening. So I see the method. Now I understand why she was crying. Duh. This other comment says, check your DMs. Send you info on how to navigate unemployment in New York. I wouldn't be surprised if there are grown men sending her money. It's crazy how the previous woman was crying on the internet too, but she wasn't receiving as many comments or as much help. I think I know why.
So I saw a video about people job hugging in this economy. So what does that mean? Basically, it means like people are holding on to their jobs for dear life, whether they really like them or not, whether there's room for advancement, whether they're making enough money, whether they like their coworkers, whether they see themselves long term or not. Because of the instability of the economy and the job market, people are holding on to their jobs for dear life.
Job hugging? Are you serious? People are saying anything now just to post on TikTok. People staying in terrible jobs is nothing new. It's called being an adult and having bills to pay.
And I saw another video today about people who are job hugging, basically fighting for scope in order to prove their worth in order to miss rounds of layoffs. And that can look like people basically forcibly taking your projects so it looks like they have more to work on and like they would be missed and so that they won't be laid off basically. Obviously all of this is insane, and it just shows how bad the economy really is at the moment. There are lots of people that have been unemployed for 6 months all the way to a year at this point, and I'm seeing all of them making videos here online. And as someone who had a terrible experience with a job around the pandemic time frame and decided to go full-time into consulting freelance and then basically create all of my own processes and start an agency, I will tell you that it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. That was 5 years ago now, and I have to say, I look back now and I just think like I was never meant to work for someone else, and I'm the only one that's ever paid myself correctly and given myself all the opportunities and given myself the raises that I wanted. And personally, I don't like putting those things in other people's hands anymore, because pretty much anyone that I've put those things with my career in someone else's hands, they've shown me that they didn't care about me or my career or my stability. I never even had a job that gave me health insurance. So if you're in one of these positions where you just got laid off, or you're job hugging, or you're freaking out, you've got people trying to steal scope from you because there's layoffs coming, I want you to think about the fact that you could start a marketing agency, and by middle of next spring, you could be making 15 to 20K per month and work with 5 to 10 clients. Because that is exactly what I do, and I have all the processes to do so and have it on a retainer basis. And honestly, I think in this economy, it is even more stable than having a full-time 9-to-5 job. Because
Here we go. Of course she's selling something. This is the female version of those guys driving fancy cars saying how you can start your own social media marketing agency. The grift never ends.
Okay, so you know the trends that they're talking about in the job market? Unemployment, job hugging, and quiet cracking, as if it's just some like headline in the media. I'm gonna show you exactly what these trends look like in one person's employment journey. So I have a friend who was with this company for like 6 or 7 years. Started out great, but you know, time goes on, COVID happens, things plateau. She kept putting herself out there for more projects. She wanted more from the company. She wanted more work. She honestly was like, I don't care that we're in this like promotion freeze, raise freeze. I just need more. I need to keep like bettering myself for the future of my career. And they just kept stunting her growth. Last year around this time, she was approached by another company, a competitor, and they heavily recruited her for about 5 months. And after going back and forth, talking to me, being like, I'm just so stuck in my job. I'm stagnant. I cannot move forward in my current position. The only way for me to grow as a young professional is to switch companies. And we talked through pros and cons, right? She's job hugging and now she's thinking about leaving because she's quiet cracking. So she decides to make the change. She takes
Holy, talk about saying a whole lot of nothing.
the leap. She gets offered this great package. It's a promotion. She's super excited. She's there for about 90 days and she gets laid off. And during the layoff, the person that was cutting her job said to her, well, if I knew that they were hiring people, I would have told them not to. She's sitting there like, not only did you hire me, you've been recruiting me since last summer. You offered me a huge package to come join your company and now you're cutting. And it was cuts across the board. They knew that there was something going on. You don't just cut whole departments and not know months earlier, and then also not know that people are recruiting new members for your team. Give me a break, okay? So this person experienced job hugging, quiet cracking, made the decision for themselves to leave and go do something else, better themselves, and then they found themselves in the job market for the first time since they left grad school. And that's crazy because that
Notice how it's only just a bunch of buzzwords? Not once did she ever mention any real details like the actual job. Was her friend a scientist, an engineer, a doctor? Just a whole lot of yapping. This guy says, when I'm getting headhunted, recruited, I always make sure to negotiate a 8 to 12 month paid severance package into my hiring. If they aren't ready to make a commitment to me, then why would I make one to you? This is actually great advice. This comment says, I'm convinced companies are posting openings and wasting everyone's time, but in reality aren't actually looking to hire much. Been like that for years. This person says, just work multiple mid to top paying jobs. Yep, overlap them all. When one drops, stack another. Don't be loyal. Don't worry about growing in seniority. Grow your bank account.
I got laid off last week and today was my first Monday being unemployed. I got a whole bunch of cleaning projects done, announced it to my friends, and now I'm heading to dinner with a friend to tell her the news. I'm honestly feeling pretty optimistic about this, so we will see the new career change and what this next chapter brings.
This is a better perspective than crying on the internet.
Paramount's just announced a major layoff of about 3,000 people that will take place in November. Obviously, that's horrible timing, not only because of ruining these poor employees' holiday season, but also because of the job market. The activity comes to a screeching halt mid-December through pretty much all of January. The reason being is that the first couple of weeks of December, companies are rushing to fill their last remaining headcount before their budget expires, and then typically activity goes on pause until companies can figure out what their budgeted headcount is for the following year. So talent acquisition teams are often just sitting around twiddling thumbs, especially through the Christmas holiday break all the way through mid-January before things start to pick back up again. So there's going to be a lull of activity for these people. It's kind of the worst possible time to get laid off. But that's not the whole story. Paramount has also had a recent merger, And the new CEO has immediately started looking at cost cutting. So his goal is to shave $2 billion off of their expenses.
Laying people off during the holidays is diabolical. That's electric chair behavior.
Of course, first thing he looks at is employees. And this is kind of a warning sign. If you're with a company who gets acquired or merges with another company, and especially if a new leadership team comes in, and especially if it's private equity, they are likely going to be looking at restructuring. That's almost a certainty, and especially if it's the human resources person a new human resources person comes in. Basically what they do is they come in, they try to clean up the books. They want things to look nice and tidy for the shareholders. It's all about shareholder value here, and the problem is that the employee is the biggest expense, the salaries, the benefit costs, the medical expenses, etc. So inevitably, the employee's at the wrong end of this, and this is one of the reasons why so many employees get laid off, even if they're a high-performing employee at their previous job. The previous year, you could be December 31st, be a top employee. January 1 comes around, and suddenly they have no use for your job anymore, and it's a really difficult thing for people to justify. The unfortunate bottom line here is that we can no longer look at jobs as secure. We actually don't own our job. The company who is paying the paycheck is the one who owns that job. You own your career.
Here we go with pointing out the obvious.
Day 9 of being laid off, and I was thrilled because I have 2 interviews this week. Let's give it a round of applause. Burr, 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 burr. Yes, blessings. Thank you, God. But I keep seeing videos of like from journalists and like people who have connections in the government, yada yada, telling people that if you have the chance to leave the United States, you need to leave, like ASAP. And that just dampened my mood because I don't know. It just dampened my mood because I'm like, we really can't operate like we're in 2019 anymore. Like, the way we know life is no longer what it's gonna be, and that is scary to me. I knew that once this man got elected. Like, I was boo-hoo crying when I found out this man is.
Why are people acting like economic downturns aren't a thing? She got laid off and all of a sudden she's a conspiracy theorist. Ain't no way this is a real person.
My mom got laid off by her corporate company a few days after she had told them that she had cancer, and it was very much the impetus for me starting to talk about corporate things on this account. Most importantly, it is over a decade later and my mom remains cancer-free. As a child, my family would very openly talk about corporate dynamics, crazy things that go on in the workplace, and I very much recognize that my position is unique. When I was starting my first corporate job, I could ask my parents any of the more silly or minor questions that really stress you out. Things about how to dress, things about what you should ask or not ask to sound like you know what's going on. And it felt like such a natural gap because none of my friends knew what to do, and once I had figured it out because of my parents, I realized so many people probably also had these questions. This is beautiful. Wow. Okay, Laura Mercia. But this was what made me start talking about corporate stuff on the account. So many of the mistakes that people make are entirely preventable or just less anxiety inducing when you can talk about it with someone. That has always been my goal, just to inform people
Get to the point, bro.
are in the environment they're operating in, especially if they don't have a parent or a friend who's already gone through it. That's what brings us here today. Also a sign that if you got laid off, you'll be fine. My mom is so much more successful personally and professionally than she ever would have been if that hadn't happened. But also, if you are involved in any sort of breast cancer charity, I would love to work with you and share details about what you're working on before this October.
What was the point of this? I'm about to jump off the first ledge I see.
Okay, so as one of the thousands of workers who were laid off as a part of the federal demolition of public health, I just want to say how it feels every time I go to fill out another job application, knowing it's just going into a void because my career is functionally decimated in public health right now. And having to switch my end of job date to my last job to June when I lost my job, and just being reminded again and again and again that my job was stolen from me and all of my colleagues who I love and respect, and that a job that I loved, that in many ways was a dream job for me at this point in my career, is just gone for no reason other than cruelty, to be cruel. My job was in HIV prevention, testing, and treatment. So it's pretty hard in my brain for you to argue that that's not important. But instead, here I am, clicking away on job applications where hundreds of people have applied before the end of the first day right now.
Having your entire industry decimated is kind of crazy though. This comment says, I hear you and I sympathize with you. Have you thought about looking at food safety jobs in warehouses, food processing? I know it's not the same, but your experience might be respected. Imagine working on preventing a deadly disease to then checking to see if sausages have E. coli or not. That is depressing.
Believe in loyalty to the company that you work for. I just saw an article that Newsweek shared 2 weeks ago saying that layoffs are at the highest level since the start of COVID-19. So people are getting laid off left and right. Let me pause here. My name is Alexa.
That is actually insane if true. Employees are dropping like flies left and right.
I have a company called The Fairy Job Mom. I help people progress in their career. And most importantly, I teach job seekers how to market themselves into opportunities.
Here we go. Another person selling a useless service that's not gonna actually make people any money. What a surprise.
I'm about to eat my lunch on my lunch break, and I got a text from a client saying, "Are you around for a quick call?" And I responded, "No, eating lunch." And they said, "Okay, sent you a calendar invite in 30 minutes to chat." And here we are. My whole lunch is ruined, Jennifer. I guess it's time to look for new projects now.
Why would she even reply, especially with "I'm eating my lunch"? Just don't reply at all. This comment says, I got a message once right before lunch at 12 p.m. asking if I would be available at 1 p.m. I said no and provided other times I could make it. She still sent the invite for 1 p.m. that day. If it's right before lunch, why would you even reply? Come on, people need to start using their brains.
They promised that job was secure until that layoff notice came. Check this out. So I worked in corporate for 2 decades. And one day I went to the office, they called me in, they said, "Hey, we're gonna be downsizing your department." Well, I looked like a deer in headlights at that point. I mean, I didn't have a savings, retirement, no plan B coming out of there because I didn't expect that. And that's how most people feel. You know, you expect to be in a
How do you not have savings? Working for 2 decades? This has to be a joke because I'm about to punch my screen, bro. Ain't no way people are actually serious.
job for 20, 30 plus years. Well, for me, that wasn't the case. I needed to find something and something fast. See, I didn't want to go look for another job. First of all, I felt burnt out. I felt disappointed in that employer because they surely didn't care about me. I was already underpaid and undervalued. I just continued to do it because I didn't know better. That's all I was brought up on, work, 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 till the day you die. And I didn't want to do that anymore, so I decided to shift. I decided to look online, and that's when I discovered a 2-hour-a-day system. This 2-hour-a-day system comes with everything you need. It's fully automated. It has all the training.
Here we go, another person selling another damn product. I knew this was BS from the get-go. There's no way people don't save after working 2 decades in corporate. People will say anything to make a buck on TikTok.
I've been looking for a full-time job in tech for the last 9 months almost, and here are some of the absolutely insane experiences I've had. Number 1, I interviewed with a CEO of a small tech startup, and at the end of the interview, he told me that they had already sent somebody an offer. Number 2, a company reached out to me to interview for a role that involved working directly with the team and the company that I used to work for, and I was still beat out by someone else. Number 3, I know a VP at a company. He posted a job that was directly in line with my skill set. I called him and I told him I was really interested. He told me to submit my resume and he would keep me in mind. Didn't even get an interview. Number 4, I was in the middle of an interview when the interviewer asked me where my name was from, and when I told him it was Arabic, he said, "Interesting." That's an HR violation, by the way. Number 5, this one honestly
That is? I mean, it's ill-mannered, but is that really a violation? I've never heard of that.
Burns the most because it was the most recent, but like really hoping to get an offer from this company. I was talking to the HR person last week about salary, and then yesterday they called and let me know that the position was not approved for funding and was going to be closed. Number 6, I got a LinkedIn message from a recruiter asking me to interview for a really vague, obscure job. He sent me a tech assessment really quickly after starting the interview process. I did research on the company and I found out that they have this really intense assessment that they send to people to essentially get them to do free labor with no intention of hiring. Number 7.
Yo, what? I've never heard of that. Is that a new finesse they're doing now?
Spent weeks interviewing for a position in an implementation capacity. The recruiter ended up letting me know that they decided to go forward with an engineer, even though it did not require knowing how to code and was not an engineering type role. The only thing keeping me sane in this job market is honestly the fact that I am working on my own business on the side that's fulfilling me. It's a really good idea, even if you are working, to have some kind of side income that is not associated with your corporate job because the stability just isn't there anymore.
100% agree with your last point. You definitely need something on the side if you have the time because these jobs are not guaranteed. This comment says, I had a 40-minute presentation for an interview only for them to offer me a position as an entry-level analyst like college hire. Even though I've been working for 5 years. Honestly, that's a valid crash out material. Companies wasting people's time should actually be a violation of some sort.
I've been unemployed since May. I got laid off and I just had my first truly good interview and I'm heartbroken about it. I'm excited because I really do need a job, but I'm so sad because it means that I don't get to spend every day with my daughter. It's been kind of like a second maternity leave for me, so I don't know, it's just really heartbreaking the thought that I may get a job soon and I'll just not be able to spend time with her every day. And so again, there's no telling if I even get this job, but I am pretending like I'm going to, and I'm going to soak in the last few weeks that I have with her. And so we are going to the museum today and we're just gonna go hang out and see what all the pretty beautiful things that we can find.
Man, what's with people? They're unhappy that they're not getting a job and they're so unhappy when they do get a job. Come on.
Here's how to talk about a layoff in a job interview in a way that makes you look good. I'm gonna give you 5 steps, but before I even get into that, I just want to reiterate that a layoff is not something that makes you look bad. It is a business decision. It is not personal. But how you think about your layoff, how you talk about it, is going to dictate how your interviewer interprets it and what the impression that they have of you. So here are 5 steps to talking about your layoff. And you can use this if you get asked why you're no longer with your last company. So number 1, we want to think about why were there layoffs if you know. So for example, if there was a merger or maybe there were organizations that were being restructured. Number 2, if you have any sort of numbers around your layoffs, use them. So when I got laid off from my corporate job in 2020, I know a quarter of my entire department got laid off. Number 3, and this is what most people miss, we want to think about why is this actually a positive for you? How is this an opportunity for you to grow or change in your career in a positive way? Maybe you've been looking to pivot for a while or go into a specific sector or industry, and this is kind of your reason to do so. Number 4, if you've got anything nice to say about the last company, if you're feeling really grateful for the opportunity that you had with them, say that. And number 5, end it with a future orientation. So what are you looking for that's different in your new role in the new position that you are applying for? We don't want to sound like a victim here. We want to sound like someone who's excited about this next chapter. And if you're new here, hey, my name is Tally. I'm an interview coach, and be sure to follow for more.
Oh my goodness. This is advice from an interview coach? Here's a better tip. How about you actually don't say you were laid off? Just lie. Tell them you're looking for a bigger challenge. They're not going to call your employer to see if you were actually laid off or not. It's not that deep.